All right, I am back, and this time with part two of the Witch's Lodge quest line. Nicole has dropped some very interesting lore details. So it's not things that we don't know, but more detail regarding that thing. So what we're gonna do, I'm just gonna, we're just gonna just watch this, and then afterwards I will talk about it, briefly. Briefly. Anyways, let's just watch and see.
Is that an Irminsul tree? Oh, this painting here? You're clearly no strangers to the white trees. But did you know that the first angel's betrayal happened beneath one of their very boughs? I'm curious now. Well then, I guess it's finally time for me to tell you a tale of romance and horror. Let me just think how best to protect the identity of those involved. Alright, got it. A long, long time ago, there was once a traveler who wandered among the stars. They were nothing like you, but that's not important right now. One day, he traveled to a silver tree to visit the princess of the morning star. Before long, he started asking her about her kingdom's most forbidden secrets. His words puzzled the princess. How could he possibly know of all these things forbidden by the gods? The young man revealed his origins and showed the princess things she had never seen before. A free will and love, both noble and spiritual. His words awakened her sense of self, hitherto shackled by the gods. Her heart soared, carrying her beyond limits she had never crossed before. The princess of the morning star confided the kingdom's secrets to the youth, and between them, love grew and blossomed, along with a determination to defy the gods. This is just a cookie-cutter love story. You said to be horror. Don't worry, Paimon. The horror's about to begin. They yearn to help the people live lives of unfettered freedom, but the gods could not forgive their betrayal. They sent down thunder and fury, destroying the lovers' home. And when the Great War subsided, the power and the wisdom of the princess were lost, never to return. Even her closest friends were cursed. Yeah, that ending was pretty scary after all. But didn't you say you were going to tell us about the first angel? And you're not saying this story is actually true, are you? It sure is. And that's the scariest part.
All right, with that said and done, I think we know the two characters that Nicole was talking about in the story, which is obviously Koitar and Surtur. Frankly speaking, in my personal opinion, and this is just me, there is no forgiveness for betrayal, and she did straight up use the word betrayal, because betrayal is a willful act. It's not something you can accidentally do. That would be an accident. But betrayal is obviously a willful thing, and I don't believe there's any forgiveness for that. But I've been reading a lot, a lot of the lore, a lot of the artifacts, and a lot of things, and a lot of the int I've actually given. I personally believe that these two was up to no good. Specifically, at this point, I do think Surtur is probably one of the most evilest character in Genshin. Think about it. This Surtur, the Voyager, straight up do not like humans or Fanny's creations at all. Obviously, there is justifiable reasons, but it's very clear that, well, at least that point, from my opinion, once again, that they do not like HB or any of HB creation. Obviously, HB came, conquered Teyvat, Obviously, there's a lot of nuance in between that, but at the same time, that's kind of understandable. And it's very clear that in all respect that Phanes and anything to do with them, it would see as an enemy. As, you know, the Voyager, Surtur Voinin, would generally be on, you know, like Nibelung's side because it was Nibelung's good friend. Once again, there's a lot of nuance involving HP and Teyvat and the well-being and the rules and so on and so forth. We're not really talking about those things. We're just talking about the acts and the behavior that Surtur Voinin have actually done. The fact of the situation is, she essentially sneaked into Teyvat, possessed a human boy, right? One of the artifacts talk about how she went to like the priest and saying things to the priest. The priest is like, hey, we have no idea what you're talking about. You know what? Why don't we set up a meeting and you meet the first angel? And that's what they did. In the end, this is what came of that, which is quite interesting considering that Surtur Voinin, the Voyager, does not like Phanes and Phanes creation. Now, look at it this way. This idea of, you know, Surtur Voinin falling in love with Koitor just doesn't actually make sense because Surtur Voinin, the Voyager, wants to destroy HP and HP creations for Nibelung. So it doesn't seem to work, to be honest. It seems more like a scheme to bring down Celestia, to bring down Phanes, and to destroy Phanes creation, which is, from my perspective, this entire thing seems to be the case. Because one of the interesting things, and this is actually very funny, they refer to Surtur Voinin as the Apostle. And I've had my fair share of stories and games, and I cannot remember one occasion that a being has the title of Apostle of ever been anything good. Apostle has always been involved with death and destruction. So for their title to be Apostle, I just can't see, you know, and as you know, like in Genshin, everything has meaning, nothing is random, everything means something. To have the title Apostle does not sound like somebody who would be up to anything good. The fact of the situation is, you came in, you talked to the first angel, you tell her some stuff, and suddenly she has a huge like change of heart. Like, if you go to where she was essentially a prison, and you read those, like you read the text, you read the books there. Frankly speaking, I just cannot really like think of her like she's in her right mind. A lot of it doesn't actually make any sense. One of the other depiction of her is that before the uprising, if I remember correctly, she used to sit under, I believe it was like an Araminsu tree, and she would just sit there in silence, like she was not in her right mind. I don't know, but I just feel like Surtur Voinin definitely did something to her, because she just not, like, the majority of her depiction doesn't seem like somebody who's actually in her right mind, to be honest. And I am very suspect of Surtur Voinin, the Voyager, in what they have done. Because obviously, they brought down the might of the heavens on the humans, and the angels. You can only imagine how much humans and angels died for this uprising. And it's not like they actually went in alone. They invited the dragons, right, to be part of this rebellion, to be part of like this invasion of Celestia. And frankly speaking, yeah, that didn't end well, and both of them was torn apart. But I just cannot get behind Surtur Voinin the Voyager as being a good entity, because none of it adds up. That kind of behavior, and from the starting point, that they straight up do not like you know, Phanes and humans. It's very hard to reconcile that this entity would take a human male and fall in love with one of Fanny's most precious subordinate. Well, essentially Fanny's daughter. It's kind of ridiculous. I kind of just like want to talk about that because when Nicole is talking about this, especially like in her character, like the preview trailer, story trailer for her, she's like, oh, it's a mishap. It was a minor mishap when it was a full-on rebellion. Right? It was a full-on rebellion. A mishap is an understatement, considering, you know, the Assertive Warning and all of what involved with the Apostle of Doom, I'm gonna say. Right? That's not a mishap. That's a gross understatement of what actually is going on. And it's crazy, but I actually just talking about this portion of it, I actually find it rather interesting because there is some clarifications about their relationship and what happened. So, hey, it's not bad. But frankly speaking, these two was just not up to any good. And Certain Voiding just seems like straight up evil. I wouldn't be surprised if later on it's just they're probably the one pulling the string behind, you know, whatever it is, right? Because it just, the apostle title, it's kind of giving me the vibes, you know? But regardless, that's all I really want to say about this. And yeah, I'll see you guys in another one. Bye.